and opinions expressed by participants in the following public affairs program do not necessarily reflect the position or beliefs of WDEF or its staff.
This is Point of View, celebrating a world record-breaking 62 years of quality public affairs programs from the studios of WDEF News 12, Chattanooga. Hello and welcome to Point of View. I'm Maurice Lewis. Step back in time with me as we go forward with some names that may be absolutely familiar to you. Sesame Street, Big Bird, and a host of other educational and memorable characters and situations that we learned and cherished as we watched public broadcasting, PBS. That's part of Point of View today. Let's talk a little bit about the history of Point of View, the history of Sesame Street. We're going to start with you, Paul Grove, President and CEO of PBS here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And also, Sean, you have the other job as being vice president for a lot of different things.
Yes, sir.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. I'm the VP of Content and Digital Strategy, so I am responsible for all of the local productions that we put on the air.
And that's the very point of why PBS has been so important in what you guys do over at the station. You are technically America's storyteller.
Yeah, we really consider ourselves to have a mission that's two-based, and that is we want to be the local storyteller of the community, and that's, documenting the history of our community and the incredible people that have made it so special. And then number two, we want to be the educator of this community through technology. And that's very important to us as well, because that's what PBS was always based on, was education.
The three things that we don't know about public broadcasting are what?
Well, I think the biggest thing is people don't know that PBS is America's most trusted institution for 13 straight years.
When you say most trusted institution, let's qualify that a little bit.
Sure. Most it was a Roper survey that did this. It's 13 straight years, and most trusted over Congress.
Surprise.
Well, there's only up to go, right?
That's exactly right. But newspapers, et cetera. So it's a great piece of credential that we have.
What do you both attribute that to earn this distinction as being the most trusted institution?
I think PBS for almost 55 years now has been in everybody's home, and we are really very, very careful with how people help us put programs on the air. When there's funding, it's never a funder that has a conflict of interest. We always are very, very careful with everything that we do when it comes to content.
Well, content is the important part, and Sean, that's the role that you play.
Yes,
There's a lot of educational content that comes through PBS. Do you think most people know the volume that you guys produce?
I hope so. When people think about PBS nationally, they think about the wonderful children's programming that we have. Things like Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Wild Kratts, Odd Squad. These are shows that when parents put their children in front of the television, they know that the kids are going to be watching something that they trust, that's safe for their kids, and that's educational. We also locally are trying to produce content that really speaks to who we are as a community. We recently produced a documentary about a young man from Chattanooga, a man named Frederick Davis. And Fred grew up in Chattanooga and didn't have a lot of opportunity when he was younger. Had some family trouble, and he basically one day at a rec center found the one thing he was born to do. He was a dancer, and he became a professional dancer, and we told a story about his life and his journey, and it premiered last year, and it's now been distributed to PBS stations across the country. So we're telling our story, Chattanooga's story, to the folks in this community and to folks around the world as well.
When you talked about raising funds, what's most important to you guys over there? To have a lot of big donors come in or small dollars from the community?
We'll take them all.
I kind of figured that, but I thought we would ask.
But it's really, truly having a bunch of donors. We want everybody in the community to feel like they're a partner with us, that they're supporting us. It's everybody that writes that check on the kitchen table that makes this station really possible.
I sense it's also a verification and a vilification for you to show that you are reaching a wide audience and not just people who have a narrow interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very important. For us, we're actually in 35 counties, and we serve, everybody has a television, and everybody, I think, really appreciates all the programming we have. We have every type of program when it comes to the children's programming that Sean has talked about, but also everything to Austin City Limits, Downton Abbey, the news and public affairs. Every genre of programming is there. So if you ever were looking at your remote and saying you wanted some favorite channels there, we hope that PBS would definitely be part
Well,
of it.
Sean, what do we have to look forward to? The season's changing. What happens on the lineup over at PBS?
Sure. Well, we've got different programs that are coming nationally. We've got something called The Choice on Frontline. We've got our local programs like Greater Chattanooga. That's going to be actually premiering September 22nd. Our first episode of the new broadcast season will be seen September 22nd. And we've also got a new season of the A-List, which is coming up. And the A-List premiere episode for the new season will be with Charlie Rose, who's a host of a late-night talk show on PBS. And a lot of folks know him now from CBS, a morning show, right?
How important, you've talked a little bit about education and learning technology. What's the whole mission that you have for that?
When it comes to education and technology, we are, as a PBS station, we've created, along with other PBS stations across the country, digital learning objects that are there as a resource for parents, for teachers, and for students to access anytime for free if they go to pbslearningmedia.org. If you have a child who comes home and says, we're studying science and I need to know more about volcanoes.
It seems that's the real trend. There's more education that's taking place electronically now, perhaps, than there is actually in schools. And in areas where the teaching situation and the learning situation may be substandard, PBS has a role to fill.
Absolutely, we do, and we take that responsibility seriously. We've recently been working with Youth and Family Development here in Chattanooga to put together learning lounges, which is a place where if people are going to rec centers or if they go to city offices where services are provided, we're going to be putting some technology into those spaces that have applications that young people can use, kids can use with their parents, and just be introduced to this type of technology no matter where they're from.
You said the magic word. I think more parents are learning things from watching PBS as they attempt to get their children educated, because not everybody came from a great educational system. They may have children, but they have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
In the final minute we have, what's the most important thing that you want people to know about PBS?
I think the most important thing for us is the programming that people have come to depend on, that we're always there, have been there for nearly 45 years on WTCI's part. And all those programs are free to everybody, but we need the funding. We need the support. We need everybody to be a partner with us. So no matter how much it is, if you can become a sustaining donor, that's a very important thing for us. And one of the big things we have right now is our Passport, which that's an app on the iPhone or any of those Android phones, etc. It can be on your iPad or on your computer. It's all there. It's all of the programming on WTCI and PBS that you've come to know over the many, many years.
Well, I want to congratulate you for your 45 years, but of course, Point of View is 62 years old, and we'll show you.
Got us beat.
Well, you're welcome to the club, and we hope that you stick around for as long as we've been. And the way we do that is ask you to continue to support both PBS and also keep your dial tuned to where it is. When we come back, we'll be talking to a young man who's been there, done that, and still has more to tell.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Join us for Point of View, weekends on News 12 Now and Bounce Chattanooga.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome to Point of View. I'm your host, Ruth Carter Hickman. The Urban League of Greater Chattanooga is a member and affiliate of the National Urban League, which is celebrating 100 years. And we have with us today Ron King, the intake coordinator for UYEP. Ron, what's UYEP?
UYEP is the Urban Youth Empowerment Program, and our goal is to pretty much equip our participants, put the tools in their hands to succeed educationally or occupationally.
Okay, so when you say succeed educationally and occupationally, what does that mean? Do you guys offer programs or classes or?
We do offer a work readiness curriculum, which is up to 5 weeks, and after that they graduate into our program, and then a case manager comes in and takes them further.
Okay, and you know, in the community there's a lot of issues with crime.
Absolutely.
So what's the Urban League doing to help with that?
Well, our program targets those who are in high crime areas, from area codes 37402 all the way to 412. And we usually target those who have a juvenile history, so that we can get them trained and so that they can have a chance to succeed in the future.
Okay, so when you say a history, you're talking about the courts.
Absolutely, juvenile court.
Juvenile courts.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're a juvenile and you want or need some help, what should I do, or what should our viewers do if they know someone that could benefit from the program?
Actually, they can call the Urban League, or they can reach us on our website.
What's the phone number?
Yes, the phone number is 706-996-0134. That is my direct contact.
Okay, say that one more time.
706-996-0134.
Okay, great. And then also with the courts and the juvenile delinquents, like, do you go to court and actually testify on their behalf? And if so, how do you testify for a criminal?
I have gone to court and testified on behalf of someone else as a character witness. And when I have testified, I testify as far as what I know about the individual and how they are when they're with me or have been in my presence.
Okay, so you don't actually testify for the crime that they committed when you weren't around.
I can't talk about what I don't know about.
Okay, all right. And so in this position as intake coordinator, what challenges are you facing in the community?
I think some of the challenges that we face is parental involvement. I think that is one of our major issues. As a matter of fact, I think that's one of the reasons that we have the problem that we have in our community. It's because they're crying out for guidance. It's missing. That's the piece that is missing, that if we ever get it back, it'll change our community.
So what advice could you give to parents that maybe they have an unruly teenager or youth and they just don't know what to do?
Don't back down. You know, they need structure. They need someone who's going to tell them no and stand on it, who's going to lead them down the path they need to go down without wavering from it. A lot of parents become weary in raising their kids, and some eventually just throw their hands up and say, I'm done.
Do you think that some parents try to be friends with their kids sometimes maybe and not a parent, a disciplinarian?
I think that happens often. I think some parents feel that in order to get along with their kids, they have to get pretty much lower, stoop down to their level in a sense, and to cater to what they want. And I don't think that that's a successful tactic to use.
Okay, and so with your work and everything that you're doing in the community, what makes you so qualified to, work with these, juvenile delinquents?
Well, I'm a product of the environment that most of them are from. I've had the hard knock life. You know, I'm from the projects. You know, I was once a rebellious person, you know, coming up as a young man. I was raised by a single mother of 4, you know, so I know the challenges that they face because, you know, I went through that emotional phase with my father not being there and always having to depend on my mother and seeing other young men with their fathers and wishing mine was there. That caused an emotional stress during my school years, and it caused me at one point to act out.
So what advice would you give to those, our viewers that are watching, maybe that don't have a father figure in their life or don't have someone to look up to? What helped you and changed your life?
What helped me is other men who were willing to take the time to pour into me, to fill in the gap, to stand, even though I wasn't their biological kid, they still took the time to show me the love that I need and to guide me down the path that I needed to go. You know, and it doesn't take a whole lot. It just takes someone really who cares.
And so when you say that, let's say I'm a kid and I just don't know who to look up to. Who in the community would you recommend, like a preacher or?
Well, if someone is involved in a church, I think that their pastor or the leaders in their church should be the first people that they go to. You know, I feel like the church should be a vital part of ministering to the issues in our community.
Well, some preachers don't even want to go into those neighborhoods.
Well, you are absolutely right about that. And it may be for many different reasons, but I think one of the reasons is some of them don't know how to reach the young men. You know, people don't care what you know until they know, you know, that you care. You go out there and you show them that you care about them, and then you take it from there. They want to know what your experience was like. They want to know what you've been through and the things that you've dealt with. And if you don't have a story, a lot of the guys that we're trying to reach, it's going to be difficult to reach them.
So if I'm a viewer and I want to get involved with the Urban League, what can our viewers do to get involved?
They can actually stop by the Urban League at 730 East MLK, or they can go to our website, which is ulchat.net.
Are there any upcoming events going on? What's going on in the community?
I don't think we have any upcoming events other than a job fair that may be coming up in October. Okay. Any other events will be posted on our website.
All right, so you heard it first. You got to go to the website, check them out, Urban League in Chattanooga. Please get involved. Thank you.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop the texts, stop the wrecks.
I'm Maurice Lewis with Donna Christian Lowe. The real story of a motherless child and the path toward employment and success really begins with Linda Murray Bullard at the tender age of 9 years old. Pick up the story for us there. 9 is a particular tender year.
It is a very tender year. At the age of 9, on Christmas Day, 1968, I lost my mother. At the age of 14, I had my first son. And then go forward, I graduated high school and all the good things that happened. My son became a captain at the fire department. It is rumored that he's one of the youngest to make lieutenant. And so with that, he is now a battalion chief. After losing my job at a local insurance company, I was inspired to pull out my life story and to write a book. That book is now in the Library of Congress. I am now using that and the 26 years I spent on my previous job to help empower people to live their best life ever. I call it the power of choice. By changing your mind, you change your life.
But most people don't realize until it's too late in some instances that you actually have a choice for just about everything that you do.
Absolutely. And you know, it's amazing. It seems common sense, but until somebody points that out for you, most people don't realize it. I've ran across people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who didn't realize they had a choice.
Well, I have followed you on Facebook, social media. You have a great presence.
Thank you.
I know you attended the Steve Harvey Institute.
I did.
How does that play into your book and your future?
Absolutely. What I did is once I wrote the book, I had done the most I could do. And so I bought the Act Like a Success book. And with that, Steve Harvey offered a conference in Reston, Virginia. So I traveled, the worst snowstorm in U.S. history hit. But I traveled the miles for 14 hours, and I attended that conference. With that conference, I joined the School of Business Acceleration, and in May of this year, I actually graduated and was one of his featured students at the Act Like a Success conference. And with the graduation, I am accelerating my business part, which is my product is empowerment, to teach people how to advance both in their business and in personal development.
Right. Well, when you're thinking about the future, you want to give some people advice. How did you start to write a book? What can they do? What few tips can you give someone to write a book and be a success like you?
The first thing is to begin. Very simple. Start. Most people say, I want somebody, I don't know where to begin. And it doesn't matter if you begin at the beginning or the middle or the end. Just begin.
That's
begin.
pretty easy, Maurice.
Well, yeah, you have to take that first step, whether you're going to record it or just write the first sentence down.
Absolutely.
And the rest starts to flow. You can get help along the way.
Absolutely.
Now, you chose to help yourself. You have a couple of business degrees now.
I do have a couple of business degrees because what I felt is I've been doing a lot of things for a long time. I've been empowering people and been mentoring young people and helping them along the way, find their way, navigating through career path long before it became a buzzword. But then when I lost my position in 2013, I decided to take what I had learned and to make that a career as a part of my business. So I took those skills that I learned for 26 years, and I learned that small business really doesn't have an HR department. And so I became the HR department for several small businesses. And that's what my business does.
When I look at what you do for small businesses, and I look at so many of our youth, both black, white, Hispanic, it's not
Absolutely.
about race. They have skills. They understand distribution. They understand weights and measures.
Yes.
They understand security, and they understand marketing.
Yes.
What if you could find a way to reach some of the at-risk youth out there to put those same skills toward empowerment skills?
Right, and the thing,
entrepreneurial.
Absolutely, and actually I teach for two businesses here. I teach for Brightbridge Women's Business Center, and I also teach for Launch Chattanooga. So I teach a continuous class, and then I teach an ad hoc class. And so, and I also help out with Launch Chattanooga's youth. So they have 4 to 5 schools that they help to teach entrepreneur skills, and I help them get ready for the pitch that they do each December.
So now, if someone is out there thinking, I can't do this, I'm a single mom, I've got 2 or 3 kids, what advice do you give that lady?
Call me.
It's just 7 numbers, right?
It's just, that's locally it's 7 numbers, and if regionally it's 10.
All right.
But call me.
I mean, that's an old bookie expression. You don't have to know my name, but you just need to know my number.
Know my number.
So, and what would that number be?
That number is 423-752-0673.
Okay. So where will you be next? Where can we see you next?
The next place you can see me is on September the 8th. I am actually hosting a class called Price It Right for Brightbridge. It's a women's entrepreneur class. It's from 5:30 to 8:30, and it's free.
Well, maybe the ladies here can join her.
Well, I don't know about that, but one of the questions, one of the trends that seems to be happening, more young black women are getting 1 or 2 degrees, and a lot of our young black males are not pursuing the educational path. This might make it difficult when it comes to choose a mate a little bit later on. So do you ever get that question?
Well, the thing about it is this, in the entrepreneur world, there's both. There's as many men hitting the game as there are women. I mean, I run into young men, especially young men, who have outstanding, I can call names, they have outstanding ideas, and they're putting their shoulder to the grind, and they're doing it.
So even though we hear about the 1, 2, or 3%ers, there are so many more that are out there that are going to Morehouse and Harvard and the other institutions.
And some of them, and it's because of the people who are been incarcerated. You can't find a job out here for them. And so what they're doing is they're taking their skills and they're doing entrepreneurship, because when you can't find a job, you make a job.
I like that.
And so that's what we're teaching them. We're teaching them how to take those skills and be the employer.
I like it. I like it. Well, if there's anything that we can do, what would it be? What can we do to help Linda Bullard?
Help get the word out there. If they have marketable skills, or if they have skills, or if they don't even think they have skills. I helped a young lady who had never been employed. I helped her turn her volunteer skills into a resume, and that resume got her first position. So I do book business plans, resumes. If it's business, or if it's entrepreneurship, or if it's personal development, give me a call.
Well, Linda, we want to thank you very much, and Donna, we'll be seeing you very soon here too. You know, our show is called Point of View. Set your DVR. I'll be here with Nahara Cancel next week. Thank you very much.